What is up? What is going on? Dave at SVA Card Collectors. Sorry for the late podcast, but I was doing some work and I got lost in time, space, the final frontier. So I saw, yes, a nice loud card right next to me. I saw the Panini blockchain. Someone bought the Kobe Auto 1 of 1. Now, right now, as I'm looking at it, it is, I think it was 45,000, something like that. That's at, for the rest of them, $49,551.03. So somebody paid over $50,000 for a 1 of 1 of Kobe Bryant. Well, and they also have that digital version. Oh, thank God for that. They'll be able to stare at their screen and go, "You're mine. I love you." So, awesome. Anyway, so you were worried that the hobby doesn't have enough money in it? Don't worry. It does. It does. Now, 2020 Topps Archive Active Player Edition, the autograph has been released today. It's out today, so you guys should be able to go to your store. Maybe you were able to go yesterday and pick up a box. I don't see any changes. Maybe there was, and I don't know. But so you have that. Now, I wanted to talk about today something a little bit different. This is going to be, I'm going to try to do like a vintage podcast for the week. Just one. And I wanted to do the first one, the most iconic one, the 1952 Topps. One of the most iconic, if not the iconic baseball card set to get. Now, it is not that difficult outside of the Mickey Mantles and a couple of the other star cards to get in a low grade. It's not impossible to get. Most of the time when people do collect these cards, they do go for the graded, but some people, can get the ungraded versions of these cards, and you can get them. It's not like they don't exist. But just to give a little background, this is not going to be so in-depth. It's just some people may be new to the hobby, maybe coming back, maybe don't remember. And so it's just giving you a little flavor of the 52 Topps set. Now, this had 6 series to it. So you think 2 series is bad, this has 6 of them. And when you get to 200, now it goes from like 1 to 80 and then 81 to who knows what. But when you starting to get to the rarer ones, the harder ones to get are the 251 to 310. And then the last, the rarest, is number 311 of the set through 407 of the set. Those are the rarest. Those are extremely difficult to get in really good condition. Because the last series, they were worried that they couldn't get rid of them because everyone was turning their attention to football. It was the end of the season, and kids had their attention elsewhere. So they couldn't get rid of these cards. And in some cases, they tried to reduce them as much as possible, couldn't get rid of them. And there's a story where they threw a bunch out into the sea. So there's a ton of Mickey Mantles drenched down the bottom of the ocean. So they couldn't get rid of them, and they just said, "You know what? Forget this. We're out of here. We're throwing these guys out." So that's what happened to a lot of these cards in the last series. So from the 311 to 407. So because of that, even the common guys go for a pretty good price. And just going to go over a little bit now. I don't know why I'm talking like this. My phone just dropped. Great. So 1 to 80. There you have blackbacks and redbacks. And that basically, it's exactly what it is. Now the blackbacks are more money because they're a little bit rare than the red backs. But you can get them. Again, none of these in the beginning are like impossible to get. Now, if you're talking about PSA 9s and 10s, then yes, they are very difficult. They really don't even exist. Not too many of them. Just to give you an idea of pricing, so we're going to go with the 1 to 80, the commons, PSA 5, 6, 7. So 5 is 40, 6 is 80, 7s are 185, and then PSA 8s are 425. Now, those, and then you have the 9s that are at 1500. They're so rare, the 9s, that it's difficult to give an exact number. So people, if they do come available, there's usually a bidding war. So 81 to 250, those commons, it's a little bit lower price. So I'm going to start with the PSA 5, work my way up to an 8. So it's $28, $40, $70, 110, and then the 8s are 175. The 251 to 310, now these get a little bit rare. Now the PSA 5 is 30, 6 are 50, the 7s are 85, and the 8s are $200. So you can see that it's slightly more expensive, nothing crazy. But then you go to the 311 to 407, Mickey Mantle, all the way through to Matthews, and PSA 5 is 125, PSA 6 195, PSA 7s are 300, and PSA 8s are 550, PSA 9s they say 1750. Again, there's not many of them, so people start to go nuts. Now, one of the cool things about these cards is there's a lot of errors, there's a lot of variations. One of the big ones was I think it's Joe Parge and Johnny Sayre. They're number 48 and 49 of the cards. They actually switched the statistics. That error card is worth a decent amount of money. Let's just say, maybe a 5 or a 6 is like $1,500. It's a crazy, crazy expensive because there's just not too many of them. You also, they have. I'm looking at the price. Now I'm looking at the PSA website for this information. Like an error, you're talking about a lot of money. For a 7 is $8,000, a 6 is $4,750 for Joe Page, which is $48, and then $49. The error card is $4,500, and for a PSA 6. So you're talking about a lot of money. Even the Mickey Mantles have some variations to them. So there's a lot of little innuendos with regards to the 1952 set that if you start digging deeper, you might go through a rabbit hole. Blowout Forums is great. PSA Card is great for a great resource for this stuff. So you have those. Now, the hardest ones, not the hardest ones, but weird guys that go for a lot of money is obviously Andy Pafko. He's probably the most well-known of 1952 with regards to not being a famous player and being known, because he was the first card on the deck. So back in the day, they had his card right on top. The kids would put their rubber bands on them, and he would get all torn up. Same thing with 407, which is Eddie Matthews, which happens to be his rookie card. Extremely rare to get an 8 or 9. It just doesn't happen, and they go for tons of money, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000. They do become available. Now another guy, Herman Waymeyer, he's another guy that is hard to get in a high grade, because in Series 1, he's the last card. So when they were collecting, he would be on the bottom and get messed up. And then once the other series come along, maybe they would be combined. Maybe they wouldn't. Maybe 81. 81, I'm guessing the first 81 and the 250, like where the series, the beginning and the last cards of those series, those become a little bit more money. But Andy Pafko, and Matthews are where it's at for that stuff. Now, there's also a Canadian Graybacks, which are really rare. I think they're rare. They're much rarer than the 52 just regular tops. They're cream color, but they're only from the numbers 131 to 190. So if you're looking for more fun, that's another spot that you can go to. Billy Martin was the only one that I saw as like the big guy that I heard of. Everybody else seemed like a common to me. But I never even heard of them. When I started doing a little research on it, I saw it, and someone recently did an auction on these cards. I didn't get to see the price of it, but it was a decent amount of money. I mean, you're talking about thousands of dollars for the entire set of guys that you've really never heard of. And that's the one thing, I've said it before, that I wasn't collecting vintage as much because I really didn't hear of any of these guys. So I was getting, in the beginning I was getting pumped. I was like, oh, I got this guy or that. But after a while I was just like looking at it, I go, I don't know who these guys are. I really don't care. It's not the team I'm not just getting Yankees. The cards look beautiful, and I may jump back into it because I'm wishy-washy in things. But if I do, it'll just be, hey, I may pick up 1 or 2 cards a month. Maybe I'll pick up a card a month or 2 months, just to keep it going, and eventually try to go for the bigger ones. But that's beside the point. Now, we also have someone trying to corner the market, and that's Tony Barterome, which is number 332. And this may be something that, people can be scumbaggish about. And, this guy said he was a family member. He was on Blowout forums. If you look up Tony Barterome online, you'll see a thread. He was kicked out wherever he went because he was just buying up these cards. Now, these cards were commons. So, at a higher grade level, they may cost like $200, $300, $400. He was buying them at $1,000, $1,200, $1,500. Whatever he had to pay, he just bought it, and he bought everything. Now, I was looking recently, and I did see them available, so maybe he stopped, but the pricing was still pretty high comparative to the rest of the common cards for, that set and within that common range. He just went crazy, and he was trying to corner the market, and that's what happened. And instead of being quiet about it, he was loud about it. And people who were trying to collect the set, because you have a lot of guys that do that. If you go to PSA Card, you sign up, and you can see the people who registered their 1952 sets. You'll see some crazy stuff. You'll see guys with PSA 8s and 9s of Mantles, of Jackie Robinson, and there's just a slew of guys that you go, man, this is going to be a fortune. And it is a fortune. Millions, multi-millions dollars worth. English is like terrible. I cannot speak it. Jesus. But it's crazy the sets that people have. And it's also a good place to see if you can buy stuff off of people. They're looking to get out, or sell stuff. If you have certain cards, maybe you have a double of I don't know who, and you want to get rid of it, and you can see, hey, someone's missing that. I can sell it to them. So it's a good resource, and plus it's a good way to see the cards, see what people have. And this guy just was buying them all up. He said he was a family member. It came out that he wasn't a family member. He was just a jerk, just buying it all up, raising the price. And people were getting annoyed. People were getting upset. People were trying to finish the set, and they were spending triple, quadruple the amount of money for a common, for somebody who was, not worth it. But because the supply was so low, the prices went up. So there was somebody in the thread, I don't remember the guy's name, but he basically said that's, what you should do. You should, if you really want to corner the market, find something that's semi-rare, a common card, get a PSA 7 or 8 or whatever, and just start buying them all up. If there's less than 500 or 1,000 available and you just keep buying them up without people noticing, eventually people are going to try to get it and you're going to have them all. And then you can slowly re-enter into the market. It's a terrible thing to do. I would definitely not do this. But it's sort of what that guy did, and it semi-worked. Because if you had that card, you're going to sell it to that guy for quadruple the price. And yeah, he was overpaying, but he set the standard for the new price of that card. So that's the Tony Bartramone. Hopefully I'm saying his last name right. I'll try to put links and everything in the description so you know what I'm talking about. I'm just going to put the pop report, the pricing for PSA. That gives you a good range of where it's about. Each card, it is what it is. Yeah, you have a ton of stars in there. I know you're missing Ted Williams. He was, and Whitey Ford. They were both in the Army. They were fighting the war, the Korea, I believe. So they weren't in the set. And there was someone else, I think, Bob Feller. I think he was signed with Bowman. So he wasn't there. But I just wanted to talk about it, give a little overview. Oh, one last thing. My boy, Mr. Mint, he's definitely got to be talked about. His big claim to fame is having tons of cash and buying everyone's cards, making great deals, being loud about it. But in his book, I believe it was in the book, but it's called The Find. And what happened was a guy had a case of the last series of 1952 Topps baseball cards. And it was just in a box. He had about 75 Mickey Mantle mint rookies in this box. Most of the mint Mickey Mantles come from this find. There was over 5,500 cards that were found. You're talking about everything. Willie Mays, the whole nine. You name it, they got it in this set. So he made a boatload of money, a ton of money, hundreds of thousands of dollars, I believe. I think he spent a couple $100,000 and he made hundreds of thousands, because you were probably selling the mantles for $3,000-$4,000 each, and he had 75 of them. That's just the mantles alone. Now imagine what they would be worth now if he just held on to them. But still, it's a crazy thing. One of the best finds that anyone's ever had. So there's that as well. So that's my extreme overview of the 1952 Topps set. It looks beautiful. It really is a really nice looking card. If you guys want me to do a little bit more in depth on a year, let me know. I'll do a little bit more research. 1952, there's so many different things that I wouldn't do it justice. And I don't know enough about it. And I think people who actually collect it are in the game and really, they know more of that stuff. And I wasn't doing, a 6-month, detailed research paper on it. So that would be nice. You could do that if anyone in school, if anyone's listening, you can do that for school. There you go. 1952 Topps. Ugh, I'm sure you'll be the toast of the class. Nerd alert. All right, SVAcardcollectors.com. Download the FlickChat app. We are having a Facebook Live talk. I will not be there. I cannot make it. My old lady, she done me wrong. No, she just, I have to watch the kids. I won't be able to be there. Hopefully, I'll be in the chat so I can at least talk and engage, but I don't even think I'll be able to do that. But, guys, you know what to do. Buy some cards and go broke. Later.